Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the second anniversary tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go! Before I take my first shot, do not forget that you can check down in the video description to get direct timestamps to the holes in this playthrough. Also check out patreon.com/golfclashtommy to get the updated text guides, which will definitely help you improve your tournament score. Also, there is a bunch of other links down in the video description. Check them out, and that's definitely going to be a big thing when it comes to improving your game in terms of joining some communities. Now for the first shot here, I'm going to play with a Big Topper level 2, and a Big Topper level 2 is not a good club, except for one thing. It has an enormous amount of topspin, and that's the topspin I'm looking for to get. You can see here now, I'm bouncing in this case into the rough, or at least that's my goal with this shot. I'm going to stretch my adjustment out so I am in overpowered, so I can see the second shot be bounced in the rough. Then I'm going to put it back down and adjust approximately one ring for the 3.1 wind here. Slight amount of curl to the left to just give the ball the push to the left that it's needed. And bounce into the rough here, rolling out there on the fairway, and now we're going to have a very good opportunity to get the ball in the hole for an eagle. I know that shot might going to be a little bit tricky, as for we need to hit the ball at least great when we hit it, but I think that's a risk that we do need to take. Worst case scenario, we go into the rough or into the sand, but then this hole is so short that we're still going to be able to reach for the green. And when we do have a situation like that, then we're definitely going to risk the fact going into the rough or into the sand, as the worst case scenario, we're just going to have a harder time to make an eagle from distance. Very important with the drive, an over adjustment of 10% is necessary, otherwise we're going to go too long in that case when we do have the tailwind. And you can play with a Big Topper level 1 if so, but the important part with a lower level Big Topper, as level 1, level 2, level 3, play with a power 3 ball so you do not have to go with overpower. So now for the second shot, I'm going to under adjust my shot, so I'm basically going to play this hole as it would be uphill. And that is going to be done with a max backspin approach with a Thorn level 1. And Thorn level 1, of course, is not a good short iron. But as for the Big Topper having the top spin, the Thorn has the backspin. And when we're going to go with the dunk, then the backspin is so important. As you can see on the ball guideline, that even if we miss the cup here, like for example we hit it great or something like that, then or we just under or over adjust, then we are going to get the ball to stay on either the fringe or on the fairway, and that is going to be enough for us to get an easy way for the birdie. Here I do get the dunk to get in, and I play it like minus 20%, which is an under adjustment of 20% due to play that shot downhill. So, hole number 2, here you're only going to see my shot, and I'm going to play with the Goliath level 4, 2 bars of backspin, as much side spin to the right. And here it is important to use a ball that gives you side spin 3. I don't want you to spend a bunch of kingmakers, so therefore I play with a katana because it works well there as well. If you don't have katanas or you don't have kingmakers, you can play with a quasar that gives you that side spin. That a little bit less side spin, but then you need to go with a little bit more curl. So you can see here I'm using just a tiny bit curl to the right, and also I do over adjust my shot for being 10% downhill, so I add 10% to my adjustment, and coming in very nicely and close to a hole-in-one. Hole number 3 is going to be a par 5, and I'm going to play this one with a Titan ball. And again, I don't like spending these balls when I play down in rookie, but it's necessary because we always need to give ourselves room for getting short with a drive, but also for the second shot that will be long for this hole, we do not want to go with overpower. I think that's so important that I can't stress that enough. 2 rings adjustment here with extra mile level 5 with a max side spin to the left, but also with 1 bar of backspin. Not more, not less. 1 bar of backspin is going to be perfect for you here, and then you're going to bounce and going to have a very nice and easy drive there to go with the bunker. You do have room to hit great left, great right with your drive here, as you do have a lot to bounce on. Tiny bit of curl to the left if you want to. You don't need to, but you can use it, so you do have a little bit easier time if you, for example, hit the ball great to the right. Now for the second shot, I have packed my big dog level 6, and I do suggest that you do pack a club that gives you more distance, as I said from the beginning, because this is going to be a long second shot. So you have the Titan, so you already have the power 3 ball, and then many players may think that, okay, now we're going to play with the sniper instead, as for we already have a power 3 ball. But that is wrong, because then we're going to have to go with slight overpower, or going to go with top spin, which is going to be harder to adjust for, even though a big dog is tough for adjust for in itself. Our opponent comes in way hot and rolls into the rough, and by doing so, you take away the opportunity of going for the green in 2 by any means. So now, big dog level 6, and here I'm not going to use any top spin, any back spin. You're just going to rely on the ball going to bounce and roll towards the pin. This is a very tough one to get straight at the pin, as you do have 2 bounces on the fairway before it even gets to the green, and that is a lot of, not luck maybe, but a little bit of luck it is, as for getting a firm bounce to get the ball to bounce in the way that you want to. So this is going to be a general, I would say, an eagle hole, but more pointed towards a birdie hole than an albatross hole. We do have very little room for error when it comes to the drive. Second shot, we do have a lot of room for error, and like if you can just get it to green like this, I'm going to be okay with that. Take the eagle and then focus on hole number 4. Hole number 4 here is, again, we're going to start with an over adjustment of 10% due to the slight downhill approach. I'm playing max side spin to the right, and I also play this 3.5 bar backspin. We could play 4 bars of backspin here, and I would say that that would be one of the changes I would do for this hole. You can see I'm aiming slightly to the right of the cup, as for compensating for the slight push we're having first from the fairway to the left, but also from the tiny wind that we do have to the left as well. The thing that I do as a mistake here is something that comes after I've adjusted my shot. I adjust for 2.5 rings, which is okay. But the problem is here that I go with way too much curl. You see, I'm using half a ball of curl outside to the right. And I just want you to touch the inner circle of the arrows there to the right and go with that amount of curl. We're coming way much to the right, and I wasn't that happy when I played that one. The only thing I could be okay with is the fact that I'm actually getting it up in terms of distance in a good way, that if I would be getting straight at the pin, the ball will not come short, it will not come long, and I will be getting a hole-in-one. But the thing that we need to tweak here is that we do want to go with a 4 bars of backspin. That's what we want to do. We still go with the same type of adjustment in terms of max side spin here, and we go with a very, very slight curl to the right, just touching the inner circle with the ball to the right. Then you're going to be very, very close to making a hole-in-one. And I do believe this hole is actually a good hole-in-one hole for you that play in Rookie Division. So now I'm going to play this hole number 5 here. Hole number 5 is going to be a very tough one, and I think this is going to be overall the absolute toughest hole that we do have in this tournament. I'm going to change to play with a big topper, and the reason I'm playing with a big topper is to get the enormous topspin. And I would say that you decide yourself if you do want to play with the big topper, or you play with an extra mile or a Thor Salmon, or like another driver you feel comfortable with. The important part is that you do have at least 4 bars of topspin. Then you're going to make an over adjustment of 25% for the drive, as this ball is affected way more here. The only thing that I do as a mistake here is that I do not use any curl. I do need to use some curl to the left, otherwise I'm going to bounce into the rough and roll out on the fairway here and go short, and I'm going to have a hard time to get this ball to the green, even though it's very possible, but it's going to be harder than what it should be. So the only thing to change here is to go with a tiny bit of curl to the left. As remember, for hole number 4, we did go with a tiny bit curl to the right. We go here with a tiny bit curl to the left. And again, you don't have to play with a big topper, but as we don't need that much distance for the drive, and the top spin is going to give us a big help here, then the big topper could be an alternative for you once you once you in that case are teeing up for the drive here. Our opponent's making playing it with an extra mile level 5, and I don't blame him for doing so, as I do feel that that is going to be okay as well many of the times. But don't remember the curl, that is so important when you play hole number 5. Our opponent's drive is getting absolutely perfect, and you can't ask for more, but you can see we did gain the equal amount of distance with the big topper than our opponent did get with the extra mile, or even more, you could see there. And that's of course something to have in mind on. So I would say big topper first choice, but if you feel uncomfortable with the fact that if you hit a great shot with a big topper, then that's going to be tough, then we're going to have to play with extra mile instead. So now I'm going to bounce before the rough, and I'm going to use 2 bars of topspin. And 2 bars of topspin here with the big dog is basically just to make sure that even if I do slightly use too little overpower, I'm still going to get this ball to the green, and I'm going to have an easy putt or an easy wedge for the eagle. This is going to be by far the toughest one in this tournament for you that are playing down in rookie division. And I think it's very, very important to be humble when you go into this hole and really focus. If you can get an eagle on this one, you're definitely going to get an advantage over certain other players that do maybe struggle with it, because it's a very tough hole. We do get it to green there, and it's going to, or that to the fringe, and it's going to be an easy wedge there for the pin. And that's again what we're looking for. Our opponent's going to try to do the same, and again, that's the only thing that we can do, and then we need to be a little bit lucky. There is a risk of the ball getting a really massive roll while bouncing over the rough there, which our opponent is focusing on as well, and that's something that we of course just need to take, as if we do cut a rough with a drive, we're going to go short. Oh no. And this of course is kind of a worst case scenario here, with going into the bunker, which is very unlucky from our opponent there. So getting it in here, I'm going to ship it in, and then I'm going to take the eagle. So when I have short wedges like this, with a wedge that you have a less ball guideline than let's say I do have on my end bringer or my main account, I usually try to dunk and just put the target in the like at the cup, and then take the eagle. So let's go to hole number 6, and hole number 6 is interesting. I'm actually going to play this one with a basic ball. Take a look at the wind arrow here, that if we play left side, we're going to have a straight shot towards the pin for the second shot, and that's what we're looking for. I understand that there is a way to maybe go with slice and hooking here to try to get it to green, but I believe as a general approach here, playing in rookie, I do feel that it's wrong as a content creator to suggest a shot like that, as it's going to be very risky with the lower level clubs that we do have, and we're going to risk the water. So I'm going to play left here, over adjust your drive with 10%, which is very important. Max backspin on your driver, try to gain as much distance, but not risking the rough there on the top. Now I may be endangering it a little bit, but that works splendid. From this angle here, I do have a straight shot towards the pin with a straight tailwind, and that is what I'm looking for. I could play it right side as simple as we played left side, but the second shot would be with crosswind on the right side, and now we have straight shot, or like straight tailwind approach. And again, I do definitely believe that going with that type of mindset, especially in this, is going to definitely give you a much closer way to drop this shot than it's going to be otherwise. So I'm going to now have a very decent approach with my long iron, and you know, you never know, like if we do get the right first bounce, then we're maybe going to get it in for an eagle, and that's going to be awesome. Something that I do want you to be really aware of is, like, our opponent is trying to go here with a big topper, and it's going to roll over into the rough and also into the sand many of the times. And why is that, you may ask? It's because it comes in with such a straight angle that you need to go with a max curl and a max hook to be able to get the ball with that amount of topspin to follow the fairway and stay for where we want to. Here I'm using 1 bar of backspin. I should have been going in 2, and you're going to going with 1.5 or 2 bars of backspin. You will see that with the thing that happens here with my shot. And I'm going to adjust this one for 3.5 rings, approximately 3.2, 3.4, something like that. And you can see the straight wind, and that's again what we're looking for. It gives us such a nice way towards the pin that being just a little bit smart, we do not have to find ourselves in a tricky position. I miss to the left here due to a great shot. We would be coming in too hot otherwise as well, and maybe just bounce off the pin and roll off. That's why 2 bars of backspin, perfect with this one, and make sure you hit it perfect. Hole number 7. Hole number 7 is a par 3 where we just going to take the birdie and then run away from it and focus on hole number 8. This is a very, very tough hole to get a consistent bounce. I'm going to play there further ahead, going to use a Quasar and with max backspin with a Viper, which is 3 bars. Now I'm aiming a little bit too high here, which means I'm going to go too long, and I'm most likely going to be pushed too much to the right as well. You're going to see that what happens, but here it is really to try to just get the ball on a position here so we do not risk to bounce too much to the right and have a long putt for the pin. Going to adjust this one for 2.5 rings, and I'm not using any curl whatsoever. I'm just going to let the ball do the work. But you can also see here now that with a bounce here, I'm getting a massive push to the right and coming in a little bit too hot, and therefore the ball will fall down and most likely going to end up on the fringe here as the fairway or like green slopes a little bit to the right there, to the right of the pin. So the thing to do here is to lower back, like if you only have 3 bars of backspin as I'm having with the Viper, then you lower your landing position to be just on top of the rough, and then you go with 3 bars of side spin to the right instead of the max 4.5 bar that I used with the Viper. Then you should be closer, but as I've said in the regular holes, in the regular playthrough that was made before the tournament even started, then I was saying that you should be aware of that. It's very hard to replicate this shot. Like if you get it on hole in 1, you may be having a slight different bounce for the second shot, for the second time, and therefore it's going to bounce completely different than what you were used to. I'm ending up dropping this one, which is nice as I can use the topspin here on the Firefly, but on a par 3 we should definitely be not be that happy if we are getting if we are not on the green. So we need to be on the green to make a putt at least. Now hole number 8, and now we do have tailwind, and we are just going to skip focusing on the left side, which has been featured a lot in guides from my end, especially in headwind and crosswind. So we're going to focus on the right side as we're going to use the wind and go straight forward. We do have a lot of room for error here, as the fairway is basically like shaped in a way like this, kind of like a triangle format here. So if you hit a little bit too much to the left, you're going to bounce right. If you hit a little bit too much to the right, you're going to bounce left. So we're going to of course use that in our to our advantage. Tighten ball, max topspin and max side spin to the right, as I do want to, in worst case scenario, if I do get a very bad bounce and will not reach that far, I do want to put myself as far to the right as possible so I'm not getting too close to the left side, as then I will have the trees in my face and then I can't play over. If I do get a little bit to the right there instead, I'm going to be able to play over the trees, and that is going to of course be very helpful, as we always on a par 4 need to have an open shot towards the pin without having any obstacles, have to curl around or something like that. And you're going to see what I meant with having the trees in our face being too much to the left side. So, and here you can see our opponent will not be able to shoot over the trees, have to curl around, and this takes away the likeliness of getting an eagle by a lot. So gets bounced in there, falling back down, and sure, it's a nice and simple birdie putt, but it is kind of a bummer to not be having the chance of an eagle in a decent way. Now it's very close for us to have the left tree there in our ball guideline position. So I'm using a couple of bars side spin to the left as for pulling my target out more to the right. So I'm not by any means going to be adjusted into where the ball guideline is cut off by the tree. And now I'm going with max backspin, which is 5 bars of backspin with the backbone level 7 as well. And then I'm adjusting this shot for I'm adjusting for this shot from the position that it is. And then we're going to hit it great. Unfortunately, like with a perfect shot, I believe strongly that this one would be very, very close, if not in the hole. But at least safe birdie, make sure that you hit it perfect, otherwise we are going to miss that one. So hole number 9, and here we do have some decent wind again, and then it's only left side, and left side is going to be the way to play for all of you. Make sure that you pull out a driver that gives you a lot of power, like the extra mile is perfect in this occasion, even though you have an extra mile level 2, level 3, extra mile is the club. And sure, you might be having a quarterback, but the quarterback doesn't have that enough in level, and also not enough topspin most of the time, especially in a lower level. So stick with extra mile here, please. That is going to be very helpful for you. I'm playing with a power 3 ball here. As for giving myself the help with not having to overpower that much if I don't want to. Max side spin to the right as well to just push my ball into the right. And you don't have to use that, but that if I miss my drive, I usually miss an overpower shot to the left. So that is kind of a self-adjusted way in terms of compensating for the fact that I might be hitting the ball great to the left. So I'm adjusting so I get the right angle, so I get enough out to the side. Then I push up my target or pull up my target into max distance of my club. So, because I do need as much distance as possible. We do get a very nice drive, no problem to reach over there. You can see I went max overpower, and the reason I go max overpower is that even if you hit it great right or great left, you're still going to get over to the fairway, so you do have a lot of room for error. So I really have that in mind, and give yourself that extra room by going max overpower. Going too little overpower, and if you hit a bad drive like I did there, which was a lot of great to the right, then you're going to maybe cut the rough, or you're going to bounce into the bunker. So going with that max overpower kind of takes away the risk of going into the rough or into the sand there as well. Our opponent's going to do something that I really don't understand, but it's going to go way left. Sit. Just by the rough there, and of course that was nice that it stopped. You didn't really understand the adjustment here. The thing that you do here is that with the second shot you need a club with 3 bars of topspin. So important. So if you do have the big dog as the only club with 3 bars of topspin, which is the only club for me combined with the Horizon, then I choose the big dog. But the Viper and the Sniper doesn't have the 3 bars of topspin that I need. But we do need the 3 bars of topspin to make the rough bump here possible. So I'm going to adjust this one for not being that strong, like we're going to go like 1.6 rings, but you can see here that I do over adjust this shot, so we do need to play this shot as for being in an uphill position around 5 to 10%. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division in the 2nd anniversary tournament. Let me know if you do have any questions whatsoever. Check down in the video description for links to text guides, also to Patreon, but also to the other various social medias that is for Golf Clash and also for myself. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the 2nd anniversary tournament.